All right, welcome back to Beyond the Stride. I'm your host, Lauren Colley, and today I am joined by UNC's Colton Sands. Colton is coming off a true breakout stretch for the Tar Heels, a year where he established himself as a key piece of UNC's rising distance program. Colton, thanks so much for joining us. How's everything going?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Things are going good. Obviously, just coming off regionals. Got the news yesterday that we were headed to the meet as a team, so that was pretty exciting. So yeah, just kind of gearing up for this final stretch, moving into nationals against Greek, and then probably 5K at Boston 2 weeks after that. So just really exciting part of the season, and best part yet to come.
Yes, so exciting. We were doing this at such a great time after the at-large bids yesterday. So, before we dive in, how is the energy and vibe at UNC right now after learning that you guys are going to nationals?
Yeah, I mean it's been an interesting season, obviously. A lot of younger guys on the team, a lot of turnover within the roster, like who's running each week. But we thought, regionals we knew if we were 4 or 5, we'd give ourselves a pretty good shot. Ended up being 5, and we felt okay about it, but obviously like kind of left it up to chance a little bit. So we were just looking at it as we didn't do everything we could to secure our opportunity, but if we do get in, it's just an opportunity to go and, put one great effort together as a team and, continue to develop these younger guys and kind of set ourselves up moving forward.
Yeah, the culture sounds great. That's awesome. So last year, the men finished sixth at nationals, their third straight top 10 finish. Now, with Strand and Wolfe no longer on the team, how do expectations differ for this year's national meet and kind of filling the gaps that they left behind?
Yeah, I think a big part of that is like we had to be realistic with ourselves this year. Like, we probably didn't have the roster to go be sixth again. So it was like, all right, let's take a step back and look at where we were, my freshman and sophomore year, when we were kind of building up the roster, getting some really good classes of guys, getting some older transfers coming in. And it was like, all right, I think we were 18th, 10th, and then 6th and 6th in my last 4 years. So it's like, all right, we're taking a step back. We're not going to be sixth again this year, but we have some great young freshmen here. Can we go, be top 20, top 25, and then set ourselves up so that way moving forward, as these guys get older, they can kind of have that same trajectory where, next year we're ready to be a top 15 team again. The year after that, break back into the top 10, and hopefully these guys can chase a podium. I know some great classes coming in, and the guys we have are really, really strong young runners.
That's awesome. That's a great way to look at it. Sounds like a good rebuilding situation. So individually, you made one of the biggest jumps at NCAA's last year. Looks like you improved 177 spots from 229th to 52nd. And then obviously on the track, you posted huge personal bests, 739, 1327. What really changed for you from 2023 to 2024 that allowed for that kind of breakthrough?
Yeah, I mean, I wish there was like a more fun answer. Like I could say one thing. I'm sure like a lot of younger runners listening might want that to be the case, but it's really not that exciting. I think, especially going into my junior year, like I just made a decision to start approaching this thing a little bit more seriously, prioritizing recovery, not trying to just chase mileage or chase big workouts, just stacking week over week. And obviously junior year, there were still some ups and downs, like 229 at nationals. That was not a great day. But then slowly started to get some momentum. And then moving into last cross season, I think I really found that consistency. Like every race was pretty solid. I don't ever think I ran a great race. And then as we hit the track, continuing to build. And I think this fall, I've seen the same thing, like just layering week over week. I haven't really missed any time with injury or sickness, which was a big thing earlier in my career. So I've just kind of layered weeks and just kind of keeps rolling.
Yeah, it's not always something as exciting as just like shifting your mindset as you go through the collegiate level. This season, you've obviously carried that same momentum. You were top 15 at Nuttycombe, all ACC. When do you feel like things really started to click for you this year?
Yeah, I think coming into this year, like I had some pretty big goals for myself. I thought I had a really good spring, a really good summer, and I was set up really well. Um, and then got to campus. Obviously, Tomer came in and we really clicked training together, and both of us thought we were in a really good spot. And when we went to Chicago and kind of going 2-3 there, beating some really good guys, it was kind of that first like, okay, yeah, we're in a good spot. Went to Nuttycombe. Honestly, I thought I didn't race as well as I could have, but still like on a day where I didn't have a great day, finishing top 15 in that field, it was like, all right, we're in a good spot. So I don't necessarily know if there's been one moment, but definitely when Tamara and I kind of got together and started training, we realized, okay, we can do some really special things this year.
Yeah, so obviously you mentioned Tomer Tarragano. Can you just talk about a little more like what it's been like training with him and racing with him and just his introduction to UNC?
Yeah, I mean, it's been great. It's been great to have him. Um, Obviously with Parker and Ethan heading out and then not having Patrick this year and Will having some injuries, like the guys I've been training with weren't necessarily there. So it was great to have Tamara come in and kind of be an immediate, like, great fit. I think we're very similar runners in terms of our skill set. So pretty much all the I do literally every training run with him, which is great, not ever having to do anything by yourself. And then in races, like, we can pull each other. He's an older, experienced guy, so can really lean on him. And he's also brought some great insights. Kind of that UK cross country scene, like it's very different from the NCAA, and you kind of really have to take things really seriously and be really self driven. And he certainly has done that. Obviously, the success he's had, so he's brought in some really great insights for me and for the younger guys on the team.
Yeah, I can imagine it's much different over in the UK than the NCAA. You talk a little bit about Parker and Ethan. Can you just talk about what you learned training with them and, you know, being with them every day and, what you took away from that?
Yeah, I think when we come into the NCAA, I think it was very much like I just wanted to approach it like I kind of did high school, train, and that's kind of it. You show up, you do the workouts, you get better. You don't have to think about it. But watching those guys, I mean, Parker, especially early on, and then Ethan, I think almost to a greater extent, junior and senior year, like really approached this in a world-class way. Like running was like a 24/7 kind of thing where, recovery, fueling, all that stuff. And early on, like, it was kind of, I'll admit I was like a little resistant to it. It's like, dang, that's kind of scary, like committing as hard as those guys did. Because you don't know if the whole thing's gonna work out. But over time, it was like, yeah, I can learn some things here and kind of copy some of the habits they're doing. And I think that has paid off. Definitely. Yeah, I don't think I'd be the runner I am today without having been teammates with those guys. So I'm very grateful to have gotten the opportunity to train and learn from them.
That's awesome. It's an interesting take to kind of say, like, you don't know if you want to throw yourself into it completely if you don't really know what the outcome's going to be. And it can be scary just being a college athlete and, yeah, not sure how you really want to approach it. But now that those guys are gone, you've stepped into more of a leadership role. Can you just talk about what that transition has been like for you?
Yeah, that was actually like a big part of coming back this year. Was I thought, like, kind of for my personal growth, it would be like really beneficial to kind of get to be a leader and kind of, show a little different perspective for these younger guys. Cause I think it's like really easy to look at like Parker and Ethan and it's like, yeah, I want to do that. But like realistically for 99% of college athletes, like, I mean, Parker was 29th as a freshman. Like that's very insane. And it's like a level of like, obviously talent and like lifetime of hard work that just not everyone's going to have. And this sport is so non-linear, and so unpredictable. Like, to have that kind of immediate success isn't really realistic for a lot of people. So I thought like it would be really good, like, to come back and kind of share my perspective of like, look, you don't have to be 29th as a freshman to end up having a really like fulfilling and successful career. And kind of, look, you can like build over time. And like, there might be 2 years where there's not really any results, but if you just trust in the process of what we have here, and like, it can pay off. And I've been trying to like emphasize that with these freshmen as they kind of have their own like ups and downs. And I'm hoping I'm doing a good job. I guess I think to stay consistent with what I've been saying, we won't see dividends for that until 2 or 3 years down the road. But I do think when I look back at UNC cross country and track and field, and I'm going to have felt like a lot more pride in the future success having come back this year and gotten to play a little bit more of a leadership role than I had previous years.
Yeah, that's such a great outlook. I live in Colorado right now, which is where Parker's from, and we've always talked about like how he was so good in high school, and then like you said, he went straight to UNC and yeah, got 29th as a freshman. And as much as that's great, it is important to understand like you don't have to come in and be the best right away, and a lot of those better runners do take a bit of time to like build up. And yeah, that's such a great way to put it, and I'm sure the younger guys appreciate that kind of outlook. Um, So yeah, Coach Miltenberg is one of the best recruiters in the NCAA. He has developed multiple superstars. What really stands out to you about his coaching style and the environment that he's created at UNC?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like Coach Milt has been so instrumental for me in becoming the runner and person I am today. And I think that's the big thing is like it's the runner and the person. Like Coach Milt is very like invested in developing his athletes, not just to be great athletes, but like to be great beyond the sport, great individuals, great friends, partners, employees, business owners, whatever it's going to be. And for me, like that holistic approach was really valuable. Like, I wanted my coach to also be like a mentor. And I think Coach Mill like took that really seriously. Like I've sat in his office and we've talked about like personal finance. We've talked about random, like completely non-related books that I've read and stuff like that. And that's been pretty big. And also like I think Coach Milt really values his assistant coaches, which has been good as well. Like having Coach Ian Moini and Coach John Tatter has been huge just because like, with I think we have 16 guys on the roster right now, maybe 15, like time. Sometimes you can't always get in to talk to Coach Milt if you need to talk about something. And Coach Milt does a really good job of like bringing on assistants who understand our philosophy as a team and like are, really, really great coaches in their own right. Like could be some of the best coaches in the NCAA on their own. So, we have 3 guys you can go to and kind of have those conversations or get whatever you need.
That's great. That's so important. UNC continues to bring in top recruiting classes and transfer talent. From your perspective, what makes Chapel Hill such a destination for elite distance runners?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of things. Obviously the university is a great university. One of the best public schools in the country with you can study anything here and you're going to have an opportunity to work with great professors, meet very successful alumni. That's a big draw. I think running wise, it's a great place to run. You've seen like the Puma team here has really started to thrive recently. There's just great places to run. There's great like support infrastructure. Um, yeah, there's great weather. I mean, that's certainly a factor. We're not running on an indoor track because we have to. If we want to get on an indoor track, it's because we're choosing to do that. So those are all big things. I mean, I don't think I've run on a treadmill out of necessity one time since I've been here. So
That's great. The weather's definitely better than
certain.
Who else on the team has really stepped up this year or surprised you in training as the season has gone on?
Yeah, I'll give a shout out here to Jacob Laney. He's, been really solid for us. Like at the start of the year, he wasn't like traveling to the big meets with us. Like I don't think he came to Chicago. Fact check me on that, but I don't think he came to Chicago. I remember he ran the 2 races at Charlotte and did pretty well. And then stepped up big in the B race at Nuttycombe. I think he was top 10 in that race and then went and he was our number 3 man, I believe, at ACCs, number 4 man at regionals. I honestly see like a lot of what I was doing my junior year in how he's racing as a junior. So I'm really excited for him to get on the track and kind of continue to carry that momentum. Yeah, so shout out Jacob Laney. He's doing great. And I'm really looking forward to seeing him continue to do big things for the rest of this cross season, especially onto the track.
That's awesome. Now, you've gone from racing just one meet your freshman year to being one of the guys that UNC leans on most. Can you just talk about like what's the biggest lesson you've learned since arriving on campus freshman year?
Yeah, I think I touched on it a little earlier, but the big thing is like this is a sport of months layered on top of months. It's not like 1 week or one workout. I think as a freshman, like and even as a sophomore, like I was really like, all right, I'm gonna take this workout and I'm just gonna like fry myself and like push myself to show that I'm ready to race, or like, I need to run 95 miles this week when I've been running 70s just so I can get fit for this race. And it's that kind of training is not intelligent in any way, shape, or form, and it just leads to you getting in holes and getting hurt and not being ready to perform. So then, yeah, junior year rolled around. We had some great transfers come in, like Alex Phillips and Jake Gebhart, Ethan and Parker really were clicking. And it was kind of seeing that proof of concept and really that buy-in of like, okay, like I can be good. I just got to like, let go of the ego a little bit, start layering weeks. And then here we are.
Yeah, it sounds like you had some great role models, but also like a good mental shift, and that's all super important. Now, looking ahead to this coming week, what are your goals for yourself and for the team, and what would a successful day at nationals look like for you guys?
Yeah, so I think as the team, one thing we've been really emphasizing is, can we be solid through 7 guys? Like we've had some days where, 4 guys might run really well, and then there's kind of a little letdown on that back end. So I think as a team, if we can be solid through 7 guys, almost interchangeable from spots 3 to 7, like that would be awesome. Like we can really put that group together. All those guys kind of have great running our way, running the second half hard, green arrows the whole time. I think we've talked top 25 as a team, but Coach Ian and John will, run some models on that and come back with projections. I haven't seen that yet, so I'm not really sure where the team goals are. Individually, obviously, I'd like to be All-American. The higher, the better. So, 52nd last year, I think I was like 9 or 10 seconds off All-American. So definitely want to get an All-American honor on grass. I think I can. That's kind of like a B goal. I think I can do a lot better. If I can break into the top half, that'd be awesome. If I can be, the 3rd or 4th American across the line, that would be really cool as well.
That's great. And, looking beyond the season, we were just talking about before we got on the call how the BU season opener is quickly approaching. You had a great season on the track last year, but what long-term goals or aspirations excite you the most? Whether it is kind of like what you just talked about for wanting to be an All-American on the grass or just in the track season.
Yeah, so long term, obviously I just have indoor this year, so no outdoor season. So it's like long term, but it's also like, 3-4 months. So I obviously want to cut down my PBs in the 5 and the 3. I want to make the meet for both the 3 and the 5. Hopefully qualify a DMR. I doubt that I'll actually run the DMR at nationals, but if I can be a part of getting 4 guys there, that'd be sweet. Yeah, I mean, time goals, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Whatever it takes to make the meet. So that'll probably be like 13 teams, 730s, but whatever it takes, that's what I need to run.
Awesome. Well, that is all I have for you. But Colton, thank you so much for coming on, and best of luck to you and the Tar Heels at Nationals.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, it's been great.